Church of the Game Grinder, Shelton with Retro Games, Vinyl, and Beer.
I'm Chris, the old-ass retro gamer. Hey everybody, Chris, the old-ass retro gamer here. If you saw my video last week, you know that I went to the Midwest Gaming Classic 2017, which was being held in Brookfield, Wisconsin, on April 8th and 9th, and I was on a panel with the Game Grinder, Retro Games, Vinyl, and Beer, and Grimsy42, which was a blast. I hope I get to do it again next year as well. But that's not the only reason I went to the convention. I also went to the convention to buy games. Duh! Well, I didn't get nearly as many games as I did last year. I did manage to get quite a bit and managed to accomplish every goal I set for the convention. Yay! So these are my pickups from the 2017 Midwest Gaming Classic. Let's go. So I only went for Saturday this year. Normally I always go just for Sunday because A, admission is cheaper, and B, the vendors are usually more willing to haggle and negotiate prices. Because the panel was being held on Saturday, that was the day I went. More expensive day to go, but thankfully the convention did comp me a VIP badge, so I did not have to pay to get in. So my friends and I showed up around 11:30. Where are the games? Made a beeline straight for the vendors area. My goal for the convention was there was 3 things I was looking for specifically. So we're wandering around, come to a booth where they had PC Engine games, import TurboGrafx 16 games. And recently I'd gotten back into collecting for the TurboGrafx 16. You'll see what I'm talking about in the next pickup video, which will probably come out in about a month. There's a couple of things that were kind of cool. They had Snatcher not only for the PC Engine CD, but also for like the Sega Saturn, and there's a lot of other things there I was looking for. But one thing caught my eye, and it wasn't really the title, because I don't speak Japanese. I didn't know what it was. The cover art caught my eye. I asked the vendor what it was. He told me the name. I said, don't know what you're talking about. But then he said it is a sequel to an existing TurboGrafx 16 game called Samurai Ghost. And I know of that one, and I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. The sequel never came out in the US, so I said, give it to me. It was only $20. Genpei Tumaden. There's no pictures of the game on the back, so I took a chance. But it's by Namco, so I said, okay, let's do it. And after playing it, it is not good. Not at all. It's very choppy animation-wise. It's very fast. It's not designed very well and just not that good. So we're walking around. Found one of my goal games. I saw it for a great price and I wasn't going to pass that up. I'm surprised no one else had bought it before me, but it was complete, it was in really good condition, and it was cheap. The Ark the Lad collection for the PlayStation 1. Holy crap. In really great condition, came with everything. The big art book, manual, all 4 games and a making of disc, all in here, and all the goofy little tchotchkes that come with it, including like this memory card case, which is kind of awesome. The guy asked for $65 for this. This goes for way over 100 when I see it. But I was just super thrilled to finally be able to check this off the list. I now have all 3 of those big boxed, working designs, RPG sets. I have this, and Lunar 1 and 2 now. Yes! My friends wanted to do other things, not just watch me spend money. So we ended up going into the hotel area where they have all the rooms with the events and, the arcades and the showcase rooms and everything. There's certain other vendors that have rooms in the hotel, some specializing in like pinball games and pinball parts for repairs. There's a Turbo Views room where they just have a bunch of PC engines and TurboGrafx set up to play, and fans so you can sit there and chit-chat. My friends really wanted to go back to that one specific arcade area where Nintendo had a booth set up and you can get free swag. Last year I managed to get a whole stack of things, posters and buttons and all these other kinds of awesome things. This year we get there and it had been picked pretty much clean. There was barely anything there worth picking up. I did grab one thing though, a vinyl poster for Bravely Second End Layer. I love Bravely Default. I do believe I got a poster for the first game last year, which is kind of cool, so now I have the sequel. So put them side by side, it'll be awesome. Not really. Found out later that if you were to keep coming back to the table over the course of the 2 days of the convention, they were replacing certain items with others, because I saw pictures of people that went there like on Sunday and got like stacks of awesome stuff that weren't available when I was there, but whatever. Took a look at some of the arcade games there, same stuff from the previous year, wasn't too interested. Eventually we went back into the vendors area and I lost my mind. So my friends and I are picking over this one vendors area and I start seeing games that weren't on my list, but were games that I have been wanting to buy for a long time, and for once, I found a vendor that was not overcharging on everything. Everything was so reasonably priced at this one specific place. I was super thrilled, which is why I bought multiple things from them twice. And one of them was Nights in the Nightmare for the PSP. It's an Atlas game, and it's a unique Atlas game at that. If you were to take like a tactics game, an RPG, and a bullet hell shooter, and have them make some kind of a weird baby, this is the game you would get. I haven't opened it yet, but I've seen footage of it online, and it blew my freaking mind that this even exists. I had had it on my wish list on Amazon for quite a while, probably a year and a half, and it's always too expensive. Got this for $20. And an NES game that I've been looking to pick up for a long time was Ninja Gaiden 2: The Dark Sword of Chaos. Every time I've actually gone out with the intention of buying this game somewhere, it's either overpriced, incomplete, or damaged beyond recognition. The store that I go to in Chicago, People Play Games, had a copy of this sitting on their shelf for the longest time, and every time I would go there, I'd be like, oh, I need that game, and then I grab it, look at the label on the back, which would tell you what condition it's in and what it's missing, and it always was missing the manual. And there was ones I was looking at on eBay that were really nicely priced, but the boxes were just like, it looked like somebody shit on it.
Did something just happen?
Got this for $30, people. 30 bucks. I was surprised that someone didn't snipe this out from under me earlier. I do actually prefer this one to the original game. This one, I think, is a little more balanced, a little easier. It's still hard as hell, don't get me wrong, but it is more fun to play. And I love the story even more. And the music. As I'm at this booth, I'm looking around and I start seeing some DS games. They had a small little stack, but there's a lot of good stuff in this stack. I see one game that I've been looking for forever. This one has been on my Amazon wishlist probably for 3 years. And it's like well over $60. Moon. It's an outer space first-person shooter that's kind of like a survival horror game on top of being a first-person shooter. And I love first-person shooters, so this is right up my alley. And I got it for $30, which is well below half of what it is going for nowadays online. Super thrilled to get it. And while I'm also looking at these DS games, one of my friends that I was with points at one specific one in that stack and goes,
I've had that game for so long, it is so good, you need to have it.
And I looked at it and I'm like, it looks like a generic puzzle game, but she swore to me, don't judge a book by its cover. And I looked at the price, and the guy was charging $3 for it, and it was complete. Polarium. It's a puzzle game that uses the stylus. You're basically flipping blocks over to create patterns, making tiles disappear, kind of like Tetris. But I like puzzle games, and it seemed different enough, and for $3, who am I to say no? But then this one was the one I was the most surprised about. I've been trying to buy this game ever since I got back into collecting in 2013. It was the first game I ever bought for my Game Boy Advance way back in the day when that system was first released. It is always really overpriced, and the same problems I was having with Ninja Gaiden. Either the box is destroyed, or it's cartridge only, or the manual's missing, or the cartridge looked like someone wiped their ass with it. Castlevania Circle of the Night. You have no clue the amount of time I spent playing this game when I first got my Game Boy Advance. I love the music, I love the mechanics. It is kind of like a Metroidvania type of game, but it does feel closer to what the original NES Castlevanias were, especially Part 3. It is super fun. Got this for $30. Was not going to complain at all. So I go to another table, and this guy had nothing but Super Nintendo games, boxed Super Nintendo games, so my interest was piqued. And I'm looking around, and a lot of them were in bad condition, overpriced. Wasn't interested in a lot of the titles. There was maybe 3 that I was like, ooh, but nothing that really made me want to buy them because I said the prices were kind of funky. But there was one I've always been interested in playing, never played it back in the day, that I wanted to look at. The guy showed me that it was complete, but the manual was pretty funky. But for the price he was asking, I was willing to say, okay, whatever. Tough Enough. It's a one-on-one fighting game by Jalico. I know it's not the greatest thing ever, but the guy was not charging a lot of money for it. Probably because this manual is fucked up. It's held together by tape. I'll probably upgrade the manual at some point, but it's not like a real priority on my list since I really just want to play the game. For the $13 the guy was asking for it, I said, whatever. And right around then was when Church of the Game Grinder and I met up, started walking around the dealer's hall talking about what we're going to do for the panel and also, shopping. He had things he was looking for. I had things I was looking for. And this is when everything kind of came into place. I had already seen everything that I wanted. I was just waiting to hold off to see if I actually wanted to pay the prices that these people were asking for him. I'm lucky that I did.
Damn right.
I went back to the seller that I saw this one at to try to haggle, and I honestly didn't need to. It was marked for $95. Not a bad price compared to what it's going for online, but that was more than I was willing to pay, so I was going to haggle with the guy. All I asked was, is it complete? The guy opens it up, shows it to me, he goes, I'll knock $15 off. Sold American. Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System. I almost bought this game online once I got my tax return, but I was like, I don't know if I want to pay over $100 for this game. I mean, yes, I've been wanting it. Yes, I needed to complete the Phantasy Star set, but that's still a little much. Paying $80 for it, still a little much. Better than expected. I was just happy that the guy was willing to just knock off 15 bucks. Maybe it was my VIP badge. I don't know. Whatever it was, I was super thankful and I said, give it to me. Comes with the manual and even the awesome poster that shows off all the games that were available and coming up for sale for the Master System. I never get that in any of these games when I buy them, so that was awesome. Worth the money then. Yes, it was 80 bucks, but better than spending 95.
You smart.
And the last one, you're gonna be like,
A licensed game? Really?
yes, it's a licensed game, but it's also a licensed game that has been raising in price. Every year I see this game at the convention and I say, ooh, I gotta get that before I leave, and I'll go back and it's gone. But I'm surprised this was still sitting there when I went back to get it at the price it was being priced at. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the Genesis. I know you're like, oh, Chris, that game isn't all that great. Hey, I've always liked Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, especially the arcade game. Have you ever played the arcade game? It is awesome. I'm going to build a main cabinet just so I can play that standing up. I've always had fun with this game. I didn't get the version that has Thriller in it. This is the one that plays Another Part of Me instead of Thriller during the graveyard level, but I don't care. But whatever. This was going for 70 bucks and it goes for way more online, and I said, okay, fine, you know, if I'm going to splurge on one specific thing, this is going to be it just so I can check it off my list. And I was happy that I did. I brought it home, and this is the first game that I popped into my Retro Freak to play. And as far as I'm concerned, it is still super, super fun. Hearing, like, those 16-bit versions of the Michael Jackson songs still, like, makes me giggle like a little kid. I don't know why, it just does. It's goofy sounding, but it's awesome at the same time. And then getting those dogs to breakdance. Yes. While I was getting ready to pay for those games, I saw one that I've also been looking for outside of the three main ones. There was no price on it, so I asked the person who was running the booth how much they were charging for it, and the guy said, oh, I don't know, 65? And for what this game goes for online, I said 65 was actually a pretty good price. Ghostbusters for the Genesis! I've been trying to buy this for the longest time, and the price just seems to fluctuate like crazy. Just when I see it start getting cheaper and I get ready to buy it, the price jumps up again, and it kind of pisses me off a little bit that it's taken this long for me to get a copy of this game. But out of all the Ghostbusters games released for like the 8 and 16-bit consoles, this is the best Ghostbusters game there has ever been. It is a side-scrolling platforming shooter. It's kind of like a comedic version of like Contra. It's very silly, it's very goofy, it's very lighthearted. It is awesome. I love it. It is so much fun. When I purchased Ghostbusters, I looked at Church and I said, I'm done spending money. I'm like, I'm done. That's it. No more spending money for me. And I didn't. That was the last game I bought. So, Church, Sheldon, and Grimsy42, we do the panel. You saw the video last week. If you haven't seen the video of our panel yet, I'll put a link in the description below. So we do the panel, and one of the questions we were asked by the audience was, what's the hardest console for you to collect for? And my answer was the TurboGrafx 16. Well, one person in the audience happened to be developing something for the TurboGrafx. And he approached me right after the panel ended. It was the guy that had just run a Kickstarter for Henshin Engine, which is a TurboGrafx CD game that is being released pretty soon. I think they said it'll probably be coming out by at least Q3 or Q4 of 2017. And this guy was like the main developer, heard me say that I was collecting for the TurboGrafx 16, and just walked up to me, introduced himself, and handed me this demo copy of the game. As I was a Kickstarter backer of this game, I will be getting a full copy of it down the road, but it's just cool to be able to play like the current build of it right now. Can't wait to play the full version of the game, and I was super thankful that this guy just handed it over to me without expecting anything in return. I was like, hey, oh, thank you, sir. And those are my pickups for the Midwest Gaming Classic 2017. It was a great time, had a lot of fun at the panel. Got to meet Grimsy, got to meet Sheldon, got to meet Church, got to hang out with Church for a little while before and after the panel. It was really cool. He's a good guy. Sheldon's great too. Grimsy, yes. And I fully intend on going back next year. We're already talking about the possibility of setting up another panel. Got to see a lot of people from the Midwest Retro Gaming Society, which is a Facebook group that I'm a part of. Were you at the Midwest Gaming Classic this year? If so, what were your pickups? Did you get anything awesome, super awesome amazeballs? Things that you've been looking to pick up for a long time or actually willing to plunk down a lot of money to pick up like I was? Let me know in the comments below. I gotta get out of here. I got a lot of games that I gotta play. You've seen them. I just showed them off. So until next time, I'm Chris the Old Ass Retro Gamer signing off.
Church of the Game Grinder. I'm Sheldon with Retro Games, Vinyl, and Beer. This is the Old Ass Retro Gamer, motherfucker. Let's do it again.